Ryan, yeah, Ryan with the new middle edition, and Nicole with some family commitments and other things as well. Okay, so that's three. Graham, okay, Graham.
James Gibson.
Jamie?
James Gibson.
James Gibson, okay, yeah, he was on the list. Right, okay, cool. So we just record those. Deb, did you get
What's his problem?
that?
I think it's bundled in the child category.
Yeah, it's difficult. Okay, so we have, and of course you've all read the minutes from last AGM. Of course we accessed those online and we've all read them. For those who are here, are the minutes true and correct representation of the event?
Yes.
We've got one from Lionel and second.
I just look guilty always.
Who else attended? We 10. Who I can second because I actually attended.
I'll propose.
So Lionel proposes, I'll second. Okay. Now we'll move on to the President's report. I have, this will be available after the meeting. We'll put it out in the minutes. So I'm not going to go through my nearly 2 pages. I will do a summary. Basically, over the last 12 months, there has been a significant change. We've been trying to engage with members, new and existing, particularly with some of the members that have been around for a while. So in an attempt to do that, we conducted a survey of members, and we had about 42% of members actually responding, being that we have about 140 members. That wasn't too bad. Of those, we found that 50% of the members are actually between having in their careers with 2 to 9 years experience. So a lot of them actually are in their early careers part, which is a key driver for us moving forward. We also generally found that most of the members were satisfied with activities, but clearly there were opportunities where they'd like to do more networking events and having more scheduled events throughout the year. Also too, there was an encouragement to utilise activities that were outside the metropolitan area or at different times to cater for people who had family commitments. That's a difficult one when you're running with volunteers, but obviously we will look at ways to deliver some of those things, and the more members we get in the regions, it makes it a bit easier to do regional based type activities. And certainly with Facebook Live, it does give us a bit more of an opportunity to try and link those people in. And our last event, the WAMSI presentation, we actually did video that will be available online via EIANZ, so that people can watch it if they didn't manage to attend. Also, once we got the information and the feedback about what the division was doing and what EIANZ was delivering for people, we used that as part of our strategic plan, and we developed a 2-year strategic plan which we released. Key focus of that was to develop some subcommittees focusing on some of the areas where members wanted more from the organisation, particularly in the early careers, in member communications, events, and also advocacy, because advocacy came up as an area of interest to our members. So we are looking to roll that out more strategically in the coming 12 months. We also wanted to strengthen the relationship between our division and central office, because in the past we've found that as a small division we haven't been able to optimise their assistance. So we've worked on that this year, and we better understand what they can help us with and what we can actually rely on them to do for us. So moving forward, that's going to be a great opportunity for us. We also took the opportunity to better define committee roles and to develop a calendar of events for 17 and 18, and we will revisit those obviously with the new committee. During the year there was a significant amount of change within the committee, which made life a little more interesting than normal. So it made doing or running events challenging, and filling key roles such as the secretary thankfully was backfilled by Simone for a while after Taryn left, and then Deb came on board. And also too, during the year we had 2 other people join the committee, being Adam and Brenda, which helped share the workload, and Diane, who helped with facilitate the strategic plan, but also took the lead in the events planning subcommittee. To assist, one thing that did come out, we applied for some funding from central office, which is still ongoing. we have got an application forward to formalise a mentoring program for the division. Once we get that set up, it'll be able to be used as a template moving forward. It's kind of like what you see at the IMM have a formal mentoring program, and other engineering organisations. So that came out as being a key area for a number of our members. Not just for early careers, but also for people who are maybe re-evaluating where they saw their environmental profession. Did they want to stay within industry? Did they want to, was there a benefit of going into government? Providing that opportunity for people at different times. So I had a conversation with Central Office today. They have a new round of funding. Ours is the first cab off the rank because I snuck it in already, while they haven't formalised the process again for this year. So we're hoping that that'll actually develop the funds to be able to commence it in the early part of 2018, which is great. The other one is we're looking to get some funding to roll out Learning to Adapt. This is a course that's been run on the East Coast, but WA has never had the opportunity to facilitate it. So with a bit of assistance, we're hoping that we can roll that out, and that'll help people working in government, but also in industry and other sectors to better understand climate change and what the adaptation requirements might be, so that we can start to integrate those things. During the year, we ran a series of events. One of the key ones, or a couple of key ones, were the Fauna Impact Assessment Workshop, the Environmental Practitioners Workshop. We also participated in a number of regulatory forums. The EIANZ is now represented on the EPA Stakeholder Reference Group, which was a bit of a coup for the division. We want to maintain that, and we want to become seen as a more active member in developing policy within the state, hence why the advocacy group is going to be a key focus area moving forward for us. We also ran an O-Day, a series of O-Days this year to get known at the universities with the students. That's helped establish a number of relationships, which we will then use moving forward to be able to promote our membership at starting at a student level, but also moving forward for careers and for students as they develop. So there are a couple of things that we've set ourselves up or prepared for already. There's the Minister's Breakfast, which is in a couple of weeks, so if you haven't already registered, please do. There's also the student briefing or mini mentoring session that's coming out about careers, the career session that's happening on the 6th. We've got volunteers for that, and hopefully we get a good turnout. And we also started working on a vegetation and flora surveys, best practice or impact assessment workshop, similar to the fauna one, but probably not 2 days, probably just 1 day, and we're working with ECA. So, in summary, I suppose the key thing I want to do is make sure that everybody appreciates, certainly from the committee's perspective, their efforts have been appreciated this year. We have progressed a lot. It may not always seem that way, but the committee has been setting up a lot of activities so that we can be successful moving forward. In a time of growth, you've got to set up the foundations to actually deliver the outcomes you need. And hopefully, I think we've done that in the last 12 months. And then the next 12 months and the years into the future, our numbers will grow, we'll be able to be seen more readily around, and people will realise that we're not just for environmental consultants, we're actually for environmental practitioners, and that we're here for them throughout their career, and there's a lot of opportunities within the discipline itself. So, thank you very much. We will release the President's report with the minutes. Lionel?
Okay. There are 14 copies of the Treasurer's report down there, so there's one for everybody. If you guys all grab one, then I can report to you. So, alrighty, so my name's Lionel Perro, I'm the Treasurer on the division. This will be my second AGM reporting to you as Treasurer, and what I've done is, the Treasurer report is one with a difference, because I want to try and add some value and try and point some salient things out to you as we go along, these are things that I've often delved over as a member in the past, and I thought, well, it'd be good to put them out there. So I'll go through the tables and the points one by one. So what you've got is a few sheets, a 2-page report, the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet. I won't deal with the P&L and I won't deal with the balance sheet. At any time in the future, if you have any queries, send them through to me and I can respond to that. I'll just go through the first 2 pages now. So if you look at the first table, that's a comparison of cash on hand for the division over the last 5 years. And the news is great. We're currently financially healthy and more healthy than we've ever have been. So we've got good resources to do the things that we as a committee and which you as membership would want us to do. If you look at the next point 2, so just going through some key income and expenditure items, and what I've done is compared this year with the previous year. So events, you'll see, and I've just put a little trend line in there so you can see whether it's gone up and down. So events, our income from events has increased dramatically and quite significantly. That's come from the fauna assessment and also from the Environmental Practitioners Network. Those have been the 2 key contributors to our income. Membership from central office, we'll look later on at what the memberships look like, but it's important to note that our revenue from membership has gone down. What I'll tell you now is our membership hasn't changed, but we're getting less money from central. So we can't rely on membership money to drive the division. We actually have to rely on events. Interest, due to the economic climate, our revenue's gone down from interest, notwithstanding the fact that our capital balances have gone up. So we're not making much on interest. Mentoring and student guild partnering, this is the payment that we got from Central after the committee put forward some proposals. And it's not worthy from the point of view that we're getting some revenue from them. Okay, expenses. So key expenses, event costs. If event income's going up, obviously the costs are going to go up. We have to spend to earn. Audit fees, bank charges, etc. Central and the divisions are taking a more quarterly payments to the ATO for outstanding GST, etc. So that's reflected. And then I just put in the O-Day stalls. There was a cost associated with that, so it's just worth noting as an extraordinary item. If you go to point 3, we just have a quick look at the events. So Belinda mentioned the events that we had, and what I thought I would put down there is just the number of people that registered. Now for all of those events, there were quite a few more that attended than registered, but you'll see from the numbers that the attendance is healthy. We get good attendance at our events. We make money out of some of our events. Quite a few of them are run at a profit because we give members free attendance, and there's a nominal amount for non-members. It doesn't cover venue hire, it doesn't cover food and drink, but it's part of the benefits of being a member. But then headline events that we have, like the EIANZ workshop, etc., are the ones where we turn to for a bit of revenue to help us into the future. If you turn the page to page 2, so point 4 is membership and divisional capitation. So if we look at the first table, what I've done is a comparison of our different categories of members between last year and this year. Student members, there's a slight drop. All of the others, there's a slight increase. And overall, we won more than what we were last year. But there's a story that's hidden behind that, and that story is that over the year we lose members. They drop out, and that's the end of their membership. But through our activities, we're also gaining members, and it's kind of balancing out at the moment. What you don't see are members that we're losing. Those records aren't kept and reported by Central. If we go to the second table, so the second table is a table that I developed based on the revenue that we generate from membership. Now there's an anomaly between that table and the first table, and that anomaly lies with Central, and it's something I'm going to follow up with them. They're paying us for certain categories of members, and they pay us a certain amount, but that doesn't tally with what they say that we have. So we'll look into that. Anyway, if you look at the second table, student members, 5 renewals, 7 new. That's a great outcome. That's over the financial year. Associates, 5 renewals, 6 new. full members, 103 renewals, 15 new, and fellows, well, they haven't changed. So there's been a fair bit of new movement into the division, which is a good indicator. All right, third table is probably the one that I have a problem with. And it's important to bring it to your attention as a member, because as a member you might think, well, I pay $300 every year to EIANZ, and I want to see value for money from my division. But for every new member, we get 10% of that revenue at divisional level. For every member that then renews, we get less than 5% of that. So you join, you pay $300. The next year you renew, you pay $300. When you join, we get $30. When you renew, we get $12. So I think this drives the story home that we don't make a lot of money out of your membership. Okay, Central makes a lot of money.
We'll have to resign as members and then rejoin.
Well, yeah, it's a good point. Then we'll make double. But I think so. The point is really the revenue and the financial health of the division is driven by events.
And also the new initiative fund that they've started to do to contribute money back to the divisions. Hence why we've sought for the mentoring program $5,000, so that we can actually put a structure under the mentoring program and have access to people who can facilitate. And the learning to adapt also costs money, because there's material that needs to be done and there's sessions and an actual training course that needs to be run there.
So is that where the extra money is then going? It's not just going into the coffers over.
No, look, they have a staffing, and so there are 4 people that work there full time.
But they're starting to bring the money back out into the regions.
Yeah, but
applications.
it's not quite equitable.
No.
But there is, bear in mind that Central, so their revenue comes from membership. They have a journal, and they have a couple of other little things that generate income for them. This is a bit of a bugbear that we get such a small amount, and hence Belinda speaking earlier about strengthening that relationship so we can get more value. They are there, they do provide a service, and we need to be smart in the way that we can optimise that service so that we don't have to do these things and they do it. But the point I want to drive home, so your money is not being wasted by all means. It's just not a lot of it is coming here.
I agree, if we get them to do more of the central administrative functions.
Yeah, which is what they set up for.
Let's make the most of it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly to do it ourselves if we.
Yeah, and I suppose the other point is just to bear in mind the critical importance of our events and some of our flagship events that we have to have, and having that support through our membership. All right, so the final one is the comments. So we have a policy in place. Every time we spend money, we have a policy that guides that expenditure. There are 3 bank account signatories within the branch. Myself as treasurer, Andrew Del Marco as vice president, and Belinda Basto as president. So every transaction has at least 2 signatories to it. We do monthly account reconciliation using the Xero accounting software. So there's good records kept. I do detailed monthly financial reporting to the committee. All of this is accessible by the committee, and if you as a member put in a formal written request for something, we can send it to you. The profit and loss and balance sheets are there. There probably isn't any reason. They're in good order. If there is something you find that you'd like to query, by all means do so now or later at any time through the committee, or query me directly.
And there is a process for the books to be audited as part of the national process
correct.
anyway.
Yeah, so we engage a formal accountant and a formal auditor. So there's 2 independent external accounting professionals that go through our books. And that's it. Thank you.
I put that we accept the Treasurer's report. Will somebody second it? Prove it? Cool. Okay. Thank you.
I don't have it in here, so.
Rightio. The next item on the report was our councillor's report. You'll have to excuse me. We couldn't quite remember what that was. So there is no report. So what I need to do now is we need to officially stand the committee down, and Deb as the, what do you call it, the minute taker and official person who has all nomination forms. I'm sure
Deb
there's
as the holder of the
paperwork. Yes.
Deb is the secretary.
We need to go through that and. Sorry.
Which secretary?
Which
The normal secretary or secretary for the committee?
Secretary for the committee. We'll go through and we will put out the nominations for the committee positions. And before we do that, does anybody else in the room have to have a piece of paper in their hot little hand that they wish to hand over and have it? That would be a no. Cool. Okay. So, Deb, you're now in charge while we go through this process. If you need to step aside because your name is on one of them, then I'm sure Rupert can handle that aspect. Okay, so Deb, would you like to put the names forward for people who have put up their hand to be president for the incoming year?
Belinda, whoever she may be.
Okay, so
So we have a nomination for Belinda Vassily for committee president.
Good one, unopposed.
Elected unopposed.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
we should actually vote. Can we please have a show of hands that we're comfortable with that? I abstain. I step backwards. Okay.
Good one.
Well done, Jim.
Thank you. Now, do we have any nominees for Vice President? There should be at least one. And it was handed to you a long time ago?
Electronically.
Yes.
I have an electronic submission from Andrew.
So we have just the one?
Just the one.
So, do we have a show of hands?
Yep.
Elected, unopposed. For Treasurer, do we have any nominations for Treasurer? Just the one? We have one nomination. Can we vote on that nomination? Elected, unopposed. Okay, now Secretary. Do we have any nominations for Secretary?
No, that's
Just the one?
Okay.
Deborah.
Can we all vote? Are we happy with that? Right. Elected, unopposed. Now, we have on there this year, we actually do have some other, apart from general committee members, we do actually have champions. We've asked for people to put their hand up to be champions for some of the subcommittees. For the subcommittees to work, we need people, not only just general members participating in the subcommittees, but also someone to run with that committee to make it successful. So, shall we start with the advocacy subcommittee? Do we have any nominees?
no, unless it's a double one.
Adam, did you?
No. Unless it was Andrew.
Sent through.
There was. Yes. Okay. So we have. I have seen it. It has been CC'd in. So if everybody's comfortable, Adam actually put his hand up to be a general committee member and to lead the advocacy group. Are you happy that basically that's acceptable, being that we seem to have misplaced the paperwork?
That's awesome.
Yep. Okay. We're comfortable with that? Can everybody show of hands? Cool. Adam, thank you very much. Now, do we have any other subcommittee representatives?
We've got early careers subcommittee, Kathy, and Marilyn.
So you're going. That's for just being on the committee, or was that to champion again?
Champion again.
Okay. So we've got.
And we also have Sarah as a member of that committee, but not chair.
Okay. So what we'll do for those, being that we've got 3, we might have a look at the group because everybody's got slightly different availability.
Yeah.
So
Elect
those.
all 3.
Those three we may actually need. Plus, we actually want to tap into a few other early careers members to actually work on that group.
Are those three all UWA? Or?
Yes, they're all from the same university. So we need to have that group. So all those people have accepted and will continue on that committee. We just need to have a look at getting some other people on there, because I know Cappy and the guys struggle with university commitments moving forward on it. So we'll continue working on that one. That's great though. At least we've got members for that committee now. What about the comms? Did anybody put that?
Simone, membership and communications subcommittee.
Yay.
As I switched it around to face me. I'm not doing this next year.
Simone, will you champion that subcommittee?
Yeah.
Cool. So we have a champion. So do we accept that nomination?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. And the other two committees we have are events. Do we have a nominee for events?
Diane.
Diane, are you willing to champion? Cool. Was there any other nominees for that at this point in time?
Members.
Members? Okay, we're going to be tapping on some people's shoulders. So we have a champion, which is a start, which is great. Thank you. Can we have a show of hands that we're happy with? Thank you. So Diane is the champion for the event subcommittee.
Or social secretary, as I like to call it.
That works. Okay. At the end of the day, we will be looking to other members to join some of the subcommittees. It might mean attending a monthly meeting like the committee meeting, but it will be to help facilitate events or advocacy or the early careers or the membership and comms group. To be successful, we've got to get members to assist because the committee is small, and as we've mentioned before, we are all volunteers, and that means juggling work, personal life, university, and everything else that might happen to come along your way during the year. So anybody who's here today can put their hand up and informally participate in that, in any of those groups to assist us, because at the end we want the membership to drive where we're going and what we deliver to people. So the more feedback and input we get, the better it'll be. Okay, so to do the official, we have an elected president, vice president, treasurer and secretary, which are the formal roles. Now, were there any other people who were going to nominate just for general committee members that have filled in a form?
No, that.
Rhonda, did you fill in a form?
I actually forgot to do that.
Okay.
Is it too late? I mean, can I do it later?
No, well, the answer is any person, if they wish to, can participate in the monthly committee meetings. Okay? So, if you've got a particular interest and you'd like to, you can attend the meetings. The key thing about our committee meetings is that we must have at least two of the officially appointed positions, being the president, vice president, treasurer and secretary. Two of those people must be at every meeting. If they're not there, then it's not in a formal meeting. But any member is entitled to participate. You just need to let us know so we can let you know where the venue is, otherwise it's sick.
But what I miss in your champions is one that could look after CNVP. I think the committee needs to address the issue
I was going to recommend, sorry Coral, that while we're here, if we go Coral
Yep.
in a moment to talk about CNVP.
Yep.
It's just that, look, I will assist, but I don't have the time to do that together with all the other, the panels for certification, etc. But I thought that someone on the committee should actually drive to sort of heighten the profile. WA, we say that we the only biodiversity hotspot in Australia, but we've got only one ecological specialist. I think it's something that we need to address and increase.
Absolutely, and the CMVP group, which is linked to EIANZ but is fundamentally separate, has a more active facilitator and coordinator. What we need to do is work with them to do more work in WA to assist in the promotions. We as members should encourage people to consider becoming certified environmental practitioners. I suppose the key thing we just need to be mindful of is the process around how that's done is very independent from a certification process from the committee. So it's those boundaries that we just need to be mindful of. Yep.
And probably also point out that the CEVP revenue stream accrues to them. We don't get any revenue from that. So yeah, they do have income which they can spend outside of expecting us to spend income on that.
Now, the CNVP needs a certain number of points every year for continual performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should contribute to that.
So they are the likely ones to attend your
absolutely
bigger events,
yeah.
you know, where you could basically get a bit of money back from them.
And that's something we haven't mentioned as well, is which we've discussed, is the professional development and the points around our events so that we can offer that benefit.
The other thing too on that is...
I've asked, and I haven't had feedback from John yet, but you've made the proposal that we all WA news of events, etc., is getting distributed to the CNVPs as well, because there are a number of CNVPs
that aren't members.
They're currently sitting at around about 65, and I've done 16 this year thus far. So it's going to grow dramatically, and a lot of those are not necessarily EIANZ members.
The other thing around professional development points is a motion with the board that full members will be obligated to maintain their full membership status to complete a certain number of professional development activities in every year. To bring us up more in line with other professional organisations such as engineers, lawyers, accountants, those kind of groups, where if you're a full member, you've got to keep learning in your role. So that's going to assist in certain things. It may also help the certification process a bit more. It may encourage people to work through those things. So it's likely that at the coming AGM for the board, that decision will be formally made. The same requirement is not going to be imposed on associates and students at this point, but certainly as an associate, ensuring that you maintain your professional development is key moving forward.
You see, we do quite a number of panel interviews each year, and the two areas. One is a lot of people do not really fully comprehend the ethical conduct, and even you as an EIANZ member must adhere to the ethical code of the EIANZ, which is in essence the same as the one for CNVP, if I'm not mistaken. If you don't go on the CNVP website, look at that. The second one is there are 3 pillars for certification. The one is sustainability, the other one is your contribution, not your work or your college, your contribution to environmental improvement, and the other one is environmental improvement, environmental protection. Yeah, you're quite right. Thanks, Sam. Those are the 3 pillars, and we find applicants really struggle with those 3 issues, which leads to how well are they experienced in their roles.
So certainly, what we'll do
is... That's something that can be done under the mentoring program.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why I'm really pushing for that. I think it's really critical for success moving forward, for wherever you are in your career, is that reflection on what you do, making sure you've got priorities, and then you've got a process to deliver and achieve those things. So what we'll do for CNVP, take that on board. We'll have a discussion at the committee and work out how we can integrate that, because there's a couple of other things that are being asked of the committee moving forward, to have an active representative to facilitate the STEPS program, which is being revisited, and I'm likely to be chairing that national committee, to get basically the early careers STEPS program run, because it never rolled out in WA. It was never set up to work in remote states. It never was really set up for success. It was designed for a classroom type environment, which doesn't work when you're in WA. It certainly doesn't work if you fly in, fly out. And now that New Zealand is part of us and their chapter's growing, it doesn't work for them either, because you've got the two end members of the broad spectrum of membership being New Zealand and Western Australia, and you can't just do it with a classroom. It just doesn't work. So we're
But
working on how we
even
can do it.
universities move away from classrooms.
Correct.
They do online.
Yeah.
My kid is at UWA third year engineering, and he spends a third of the time I've spent at university, contact time.
Yeah.
So I think
But I
that
think
should.
even that is limited to a delivery schedule, which doesn't work for 5 folks.
Okay, just so we know, we're sort of going off tact a little bit, but thank you for the update on the CMVP. And that's basically, that was the other business. So is there anything before we officially declare the meeting closed? Is there anything else that any of the committee or anybody else would like to just quickly bring up?
I just have a question. I mean, this is my first AGM. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. So, I mean, can I still be part of the committee?
Yes. We're
You
never
can
going to knock anybody back.
To go for any member, you can nominate any time of the
Yes.
year.
Yeah. The only ones that have official process are the four executive members.
Four
Yeah.
executive
Okay, so I declare the meeting closed at 8 minutes to 7 o'clock. Okay, there's some food. We'll also too, we'll put a small bar tab on which your next drinks will cover, and please help yourself to the food.
Can we just have a round of applause for the committee for last year? I think
Sorry.
they did a great job.
Excellent job. And since they're the same, we're looking at improvement.
Okay, thank you very much.